Good morning to you, the 22nd day of December 2022. This is the Morning Glory Show. My name is MC Kalia. Of course, this comes in a little bit late because of a few hitches here and there. But then, of course, we are glad that we've been able to actually make it to bring you this particular broadcast. So welcome to this particular broadcast. If you're already on the broadcast, then let me know where you tuned in from. Let's engage, let's learn from each other, and let's have this beautiful conversation. Today with me is Mr. Bet. Mr. Bet is a mentor working with Kador. Kador is an organization that works with school to just make sure that our children get to learn, get some mentorship from people who've actually experienced life. And as you know, knowledge can be gained through experience, of course, through school, and also other ways. And today that forms part of our topic because we actually want to just investigate the kind of knowledge that is relevant to society today, but then also at the same time, then we'd want to ask ourselves if it is the right knowledge for your children or even you. Then the right question would be that what kind of knowledge do you consume? What kind of knowledge does your environment consume? Before we come there, then allow me to introduce our guest. I'll give him a chance to introduce himself better because I've already mentioned his name and actually say something about what they do as Kador.
Thank you, MC Kalia. My name is Philemon Bet, as you rightly put it. I'm a mentor, and I work with an organization called Kador. Kador is the Kenya Centers of Academicians and Diverse-Oriented Research. And basically, we deal with schools. It is a mentor organization where we invest in the brain. And when talk of investing in the brain, we deal more on the study methods, where we inculcate the success culture. So that is, in simple terms, what we do. Yes.
So saying that you actually inculcate the success culture, that means that you train up a child to know that they need to be successful. What does that mean?
Yeah, it means that you really bring out the potential of a child. We have so many different types of learners. The organization Kador is trying to bring out, to understand what kind of a learner are you. And from that approach, we can be able to give you the correct study methods, because we believe that everyone was born to succeed. And that's the key thing, that no one should fail. We fail because we don't know how to approach issues, and we really come with a solution on that point of view.
Okay, trust you me, this is going to be a very interesting conversation. Mr. Beth, they are saying that actually it starts with identifying actually the potential in you and then guiding it and making sure that you use the right methods to succeed. If you're already on the broadcast, then let me know where you tuned in from. Let's engage with each other. Let's actually learn from each other. As I usually tell you that I would love this particular broadcast to be one that edifies everyone. So today we believe that this is going to be a very interesting conversation. So make sure that you engage with us. If you have any questions, let us know. We are coming live from Dawi Afrique Photography. Dawi Afrique Photography is situated in Eldoret at a place called Zion. So Zion Mall is located along the Nairobi, Uganda road, just opposite Barnet Twin. So anytime you're in Eldoret and you need anything that goes into video or photo production, then you can be sure to work with us. As we continue, Bwana Bet, maybe people would really want to know what exactly do you do, how do you operate, and which regions have you covered?
Thank you very much. How we operate is that we operate through schools. That means that we enroll schools into organizations. We go to them, and once you enroll, you have a whole package, right from mentorship, from motivational speaking, and through the study methods. So we have schools as far as from Narok. We have school from Kericho, and we have also school from Elgeyo Marakwet, and we have schools also in Kitale, and we have schools in Eldoret. So basically, we are still in Rift Valley region, but we are advancing. Yes.
Okay, and what are some of these impacts that you see in students that you've mentored before? Maybe somebody would ask, you've been here, that is like, we would say fairly around 10 years. You've worked with several schools. What are some of those aspects that you can see and say, if you were to count your achievements, would you say, on a rate card of out of 10, then how much would you give yourself? And what are some of these aspects that you've observed with students you've worked with that is so different from the others that maybe have not interacted with your program?
Well, it has been enormous. I may not even rate it because I may rate it because when you see people doing very well, the students, right from building their confidence in terms of presentation, right from being able to express themselves, right from building their careers from their tender age, and as well as also building their talents. You feel so good. So those are the things that you cannot rate in a society. But it is so fulfilling when you see some of the people that you've mentored, some of the students who are doing poorly are beginning to do very well. Some of the schools are coming up in terms of their mean grades, and you feel so okay. And that is what is fulfilling to us as Kador. Yes.
Okay, and maybe take us through it. Maybe once you meet a school or an institution, how does it go until you are able to now work with them? And how do you even identify the organizations and the schools to work with?
Okay, what we normally do is that we do a lot of marketing online. If you go online, you can find us. But more often, again, we also tour to schools. And in the initial stages, we talk to the principals of certain schools. And then what we do a free presentation, an overview of our program, what we offer, what we do. So we have a whole package of that. So when we do that, we give you preview so that you can be able to understand exactly what are you getting yourself into and what is Kador all about. So we give you that free of charge. So once you feel that that is the kind of program you need, which I believe that is the kind of program that you need, because the students need to be mentored, you need motivational speakers, you need people who can guide you, people who can even motivate your teachers. Remember our program Cut Across. We do also digital training for the teachers. We call it e-learning, to enable teachers to cope with the trend. Remember, we are getting into technology era where teachers are expected to use the presentations such as PowerPoint presentations, animations, videos to teach. And those are the things that we do. So we are making learning much easier for the teacher. And we are also making learning more interesting for the child. So what we are doing actually is that we are helping the learner to master content. We are helping also the teacher to do a proper presentation of content. But in this case, we are training teacher to be a content creator. And we have now a child who is should be a master of content. And by that doing, we are impacting the society. And we believe that is the way to go.
Wow, that's the way to go. Somebody once said that the internet has made the world a very small village. And true to that, then you understand that with internet, at times regulating what your child consumes, regulating what you consume becomes an issue. And actually the reason for us coming here today is actually to discuss that particular bit of enriching your brain, or rather maybe as Mr. Bett puts it, then his was maybe what do you consume exactly? How is your environment exactly? And that would form the basis of this particular discussion today. And back to you, Bwana Bett. We're actually in a holiday season, and of course we thought this could be a very important message during this particular time when students are not in school. We have parents at home, we have students at home. What is an ideal environment for a child to learn?
Well, that is a very good question, because we have so many things that really stray our minds as young people. And having your kids around, parents are at home, and my question will be, what kind of programs do you have for your kids?
Children?
Yes. Then, of course, we have different kind of families. We have those families that they have organized themselves throughout the year. They have even the diary and the dates. We have other families that they only gather at Christmas or during festive seasons. We have only those. And they get surprised because majority of them may not even know each other. But more importantly, as far as investing in the brain and in terms of the kind of tools or materials that you need to enrich your mind, my question will only go that there are so many factors. One is that what kind of books do you have in your home library? If we have, remember, we cannot even just have a room and say this is a home library. Whichever the place, you can have a section of your sitting room as a reading place, and that is a library for you. What kind of books do you have in that? Yeah, the normal books, that is one. Because you realize that we learn through reading. So we are talking about books. We are also talking about what kind of programs do you watch as a family. When you talk of the programs, a majority of the parents will be very interested in politics. That for the young person may not be as interesting as you may think. To them, they're talking about the entertainment. So my sincere request to the parents and to the mentors and to the guardians is that what kind of programs do you really take your time to watch through the television? What kind of movies, if you're a fan of movies, do you bring at home and sit with your family and watch? And thereafter, what kind of discussions do you always have? Do you engage yourself in a discussion that is likely to educate or bring us a new knowledge to your kids? Are you motivating? Are you pushing your children to see that as much as you are a parent, but you are also investing in yourself? In this case, investing in your brain. So that is another thing to look at in the environment that you are in. Another thing in the environment is that what kind of friends do you have around coming as a parent? You know, most of the time, parents think that it doesn't matter the kind of friends that I have as a parent. It matters because you also more often speak with a lot of authority to your kids on whom they can go around with, the friend that they can bring homes, the kind of family they should visit. That also brand you as a certain parent. So as a parent also, what kind of friends do you have, family friends? What kind of topics or discussion that you normally engage in? Because most of the time we listen. And we become what our parents most of the time do. We don't become what they tell us. We become what they do. That is what I can say. Yes.
And okay, you explaining it actually gives that image of an ideal home, but then of course the reality is that we are not there. My question would be, where are we? How bad is the situation currently?
Yeah, the situation is bad because we have values that have been lost. The family values, right? The family values have been lost. And why do we have that kind of scenario? It is because of the things that are happening. I'm glad that we have such a show that is really coming up to educate people. So first of all, we need to go back to our original values. What is a family to begin with? And because of the social media and all that, everyone thinks that they can get the information from the social media and they can be independent. But you realize that as a family, we need to stay as one unit. And the situation is so bad to the extent that most of the families, as we speak, some of the family members may not be coming for the Christmas. Yes. Why? Because of, issues that we cannot even discuss here. So that creates a lot of drift in the families. And when you have something good, a family gathering, we have a problem. That is when we see that people are not seeing eye to eye, which is unfortunate. But if we bring our families together, one, there will be a healthy competition among the family members. And somebody may ask how. If, for example, I go home and I'm doing so well in my workplace and I'm doing some progress, I may also motivate my younger brother or my older brother or my older sister to do very well. I may also share a few tips that really assisted me to do very well in that particular area. I may also have some connection that I can, do for you. So those are the things. We may have a coming together because it is always good to come together and brainstorm things. By so doing, we are investing in the brain. Investing in the brain doesn't mean for the parents of those who are paying for the school fees that you only need to labor so hard, pay a lot of money, and you have nothing to show off. It goes beyond that. Money is just something small when it comes to investing in the brain. It is something small. There is a lot of it that goes. There is a lot of time, investing your time as a parent in that. Investing your knowledge and your experience in that. And those are the things that most of the parents may not really understand, that they have so much to offer. One, their time. Secondly, their experience. That is very key. And also, of course, their connections. Yes, the relevant people that should around you. In this case, the mentors. Yes.
Okay. And when you mention actually that we have a problem, there's this joke that has been going around that kwenu bado mko na family gathering ama kuna shida ya shamba kidogo. Of course, if you're already on the broadcast, talk to me. I can see Kim Slavin saying good morning. Mildred Sum says good morning. Anthropologist Chumpa, thank you so much for always being with us. Joshua Lele, Captain. I'll continue sampling some of your comments as the broadcast continues. But then as we move on, Bwana Bet, you've actually tried to give some antidote into the situation we are in already. But then so many people are already there. We're already in the problem. We are no longer meeting as a family. What path, what process can we take? Because you now realize that as the joke now goes, actually, is that maybe the hatred quote unquote, because it may not be hatred, labda ni shida ndogo ndogo, has actually moved from generation 1 to generation 2. Meaning that maybe it was our parents' problem, but then now it's actually also being transferred into the children's problem. In your own, I know this may not be part of what you do as Kador, but then in your own experience, in your own imagination, then what actually will it take for us to like cut off that thing?
We require a lot of things, a number of things, because we have a rotten culture. And eradicating such a culture requires time, requires resources, requires patience. And we want to invest in the right knowledge to begin with. If you want to eradicate a bad culture, you need to really inculcate the right culture that will counterattack the other culture. So for us, what we can do as a normal society, we begin investing in the right skills. The right skills and eradicating the notions that, when you do very well as a family, your siblings are likely to depend on you. If you're the firstborn, you're likely to shoulder part of the responsibilities of your parents, and you will be a parent while you're still young and all that. That may be true. But we also need to look at some of the values, some of the benefits that will come with a family staying together. Yes. So we may not progress as much if we are not going to stick together as a family. We, just like a country, we may not really do very well economically and socially if we are not sticking together. So this will take a tall order. In terms of even having the Ministry of Education coming in with the right skills and with the right knowledge that will propel and enhance the togetherness of the family. That is what I can say. So that, for me, I think it is work in progress. We still have families that sticks together. We need to learn from them. For those families who don't see eye to eye, we are losing much more than that. So we need really to come back and see the way forward.
Okay, you're losing more than just that. When you lost the relationship, you lost more than just the relationship. With me today in studio is Mr. Bet, who works with Kador, an organization that mentors children, especially working with institutions, those are schools, in to make sure that actually the kids achieve their maximum abilities and potentials. Also, just to remind you is that the Morning Glory show on Thursday is usually dedicated to issues that touch on family and relationship. And as you can hear Bwana Bet saying here is that actually we've lost a lot, but then all is not lost. That means that actually there's a way of salvaging ourselves. Reminding you, we're coming live from Dawi Afrique Photography. If you have any questions to ask. If you have any mchango to make, then make sure that you also talk to us. I'll be sampling more and more of your comments. Tobias Ocho saying, morning MC Kalia, great job, sir. Tuned in Nikiwa Job, thank you so much. Wilbert Eran, thank you so much for making time. Nathan Kangogo, comedian, thank you so much. Kian Kador saying good. Thank you so much. Saying Mr. Bet Philemon, senior moderator at Kador. Thank you so much for that. Let's continue talking to each other. Kaltio Nasaris saying good morning to you. Good morning. This particular morning, we're just looking at investing in your brain, and Bwana Bet has given us one aspect of it, which is actually making sure that your environment has the right content for you to consume. And I'll be going back there, Bwana Bet. You realize that we have a dying reading culture. And as even noted in our caption today, is that the internet has taken over what the books was doing. The internet has taken over what the gatherings were doing. And it may not have, maybe we would say we jumped out of the camp before the completion of the training. So that means that we are still very new to the internet. It is evolving daily, which means that whatever was there today is not what will be there tomorrow. How can we get back the reading culture?
We need to agree that internet and social media are good things to our generations and to generations to come. Now, just before I answer your questions, you realize that we may have people in the family, right, who are very vocal, because I believe that there's families who have their WhatsApp group as a family. They chat, they talk. But we have this particular member who is very vocal, very active in the family WhatsApp group.
Yeye ndiye anamkaga asubuhi anatuma ile kitu ya good morning
Yes,
guys, then
yes.
nobody answers.
So we have those kind of guys. But I can tell you, when we have a family gathering, those are the quiet people. They don't talk much when you meet one-on-one. So social media really is a good thing, but we also need to balance so that we don't speak too much in writing. We also express ourselves how we feel. So that is another thing. And when we talk of how do we really eradicate this culture, you see, there are so many things that we may not learn through the social media. We may not trust some platforms for information. So it is always good, because we are also, Kador is also an organization that we champion more in terms of research. We do a lot of research. You may not succeed so much if you only relied on the soft copy and information from the social media. You also need some hard copies to read. It is also healthier when you go into the library. For example, here in Eldoret, we have National Library here. You can just visit your library. You have so many universities. You can visit their libraries and look at some books that you may not find them online.
On the internet.
Yes, on the internet, and be able to read. By so doing, you're gaining the real content. Yeah. So that is basically what I'm saying, is that we don't eradicate exactly things that got us here. Right?
Those are way we reached here.
Yes, that is how we got here. So we don't eradicate, we revisit them to assist us also to make better decisions. And of course, utilizing what you have, because if you want to really have your message go viral, what you need is just to go to the social media, and you'll have that information reaching so many people. But we are asking you, what kind of content are you giving people? What are source of your content? You see, those are the things. And source of your content can be also from the source can be from even the old people in the society, from your parents. What do you discuss with your parents, the elder people? From your mentors. What are they telling you? When you speak to somebody one-on-one, you have the advantage of assessing whether what you're telling me is true. Right now, so many people are watching us. But you are in a better position to look at me in the eye and see whether I'm speaking the real thing that you really want your people to consume. That is what I will say. So meeting physically is very important. That is why even companies have meetings. You may have Zoom meetings or Google meetings. You may have all those things. But once in a while,
you'd have to meet on a one-on-one basis.
Yes, because it is very important. Because even the body language speaks louder. Your facial expression also speaks something. Your jokes on something, or the environment that you're going to meet it in also speaks something about you and about the topic that we're going to discuss. So it is very important. And that is why, as Kador, we champion the reading culture and having the right culture. Yes.
Okay, somebody would ask then, how should an ideal library look like? What should I have in my library? Unajua unasikianga mtu anasema, okay, me I only read this, I don't read this, I do this, I don't do this. What would you advise somebody, maybe a parent who is stocking their home library, or somebody who right now has accepted that there is need actually to read? Where do we start? Because actually there's that break of and this, I'm sure so many people may have experienced this, where maybe you had a reading culture, then maybe you got into a career that is so engaging, and that culture stopped. So how do you get it back, and what should an ideal library, home library, have?
Well, an ideal home library is not limited, but you need to be having, based on the career choices of your kids. As a parent also, you play a key role in mentoring your kids in terms of the career path. Depending on what you want your kids to be, your priority, your library will be filled with the books that really channel or direct your children toward that direction. So, but to begin with, we really want to see parents. If you had a privilege of being somebody in the society, what is your profession, for example? Are you an accountant? We need to see some books of accounting in your library because it has to begin with you. Were you a teacher? We need to see books, various type of books, novels, magazines, and newspapers. We need to see them in your library. So that you're showing an example. And thereafter, because you're well, equipped, you're well read, what will happen is bring variety of books. Don't restrict, because more often we may misjudge. We may misjudge our children, and we may really want to force them towards a certain direction. So what we need to do as parents also, for you to equip your library very well, read your interest of your kids and bring those books to them. But as do that, bring also other books that that
On the flip side.
Yes, so that somebody can say, "Nanonga hii kitabu iko hapa, na sinisome nione what it contains." You never know. Those are the things. So equip your library with so many things, but you begin with what you love, followed by exactly what your kids love, and give them a variety to choose. And in this case, when even your children are grown, you may ask them the kind of books you want to bring, what kind of movies you may want to bring. And those are the things that I think should inform you when you're coming up with your home library and the books to buy.
Okay, thank you so much for that. This is the Morning Glory, 40 minutes past the hour, 8 in the AM. My name is MC Kali, and with me today in studio is Mr. Bet. Bet is actually one of the mentors at Kador. Kador is an organization that works with schools and community in general to make sure that people bring out, or rather children bring out their full potential, and also that we are able as a community to impact them positively. We are coming live from Dawi Afrique Photography. Remember that Dawi Afrique Photography is situated in Zion Mall along the Nairobi, Uganda road. You then see Zion Mall just opposite Barngetwin. Once you're there, if you can ask anyone, you can be directed to Dawi Afrique Photography. We are situated at the Zion Mall, at the basement of the mall. And going into the next bit of this, of course, you've talked about the issue of having books at home and all that. There's something else, and I'm sure you must have interacted with these, that schools and even employers have the same problem, where somebody is actually book smart. But when you come out there, then there's that, what I would put it in quote unquote, street smart. So that somebody knows the process of doing something so well in theory. But when it comes to practicality, then there is an issue there. And same thing also arises, and once again, I'm sure you may have seen it in schools, where the curriculum has been might have not interacted much with CBC, but there are still students who still consume the current curriculum, or the curriculum that we're just trying to phase out. And you notice that the curriculum is heavy, or the teachers are pushing the students too much to actually produce grades. And at the end of it all, then you find a situation whereby there is no time for any other kind of reading. How do we guide this as a society? Is it a problem with the government? Is it a problem with those who come up with the curriculum? Or is it a problem with our society as a general?
Well, I think it is a problem of a society. We may not blame the government. It is just a problem of a society. And to put it more clearly, is that there is no way you can be so good in theory, and when it comes to putting that theory into practice, you fail. It only means that you really didn't read well. You never read well. And it means the reading method were wrong. The correct reading method should be able to really help you when you learn something in theory, you can be able to put it into practice. That is a good method. You put it into test because we are more of, practical than the theory part of it. So there is no such a thing that, we have some street people who are very smart, and we have some people who have read books, and when it comes to practicality of the knowledge that they have, they cannot even showcase what they have. No, there is not such a thing. It means that that person that you think is a street person read something, understood it, and put it into practice, and it came out so well. It is not coincident. You just need to master something and understand it. And the art of mastering is doing it. It is not about reading it and saying that I'm okay. That is why we are talking about the mastery of content. When you master content, it means that you've already understood it. And when you understand something, it means that you can even present in your own way. But when you read something and you cannot be able to practically bring it on the table and we can be able to see, then it means you are just reading to pass. It means you are just reading to cram, and you have nothing to show. Somebody told me one time that he was asking me, what is the definition of education? What is education? And we were really unable to really answer that. And to him, according to him, he told me that education is that information that remain long after you left the school, and it is practical to you. That is why sometimes you laugh when you see certain, memes going around in social media.
Ili tusaidia nini?
Mtu anakuuliza sasa Pythagorean theory ilikusaidia nini? Those are the things. It means that people never gotten the concept and the knowledge that was purposed for you to understand. So for me, the society. Why am I saying society? It is not surprising even in the sherehes, mahali tunaenda. I do a bit of MC in so many sherehes, and when parents are overwhelmed and they are very happy, wanasema tukiwa shule sisi tulijua kitu inaitwa chemistry ni ngumu. That is a notion. Because of your happiness and because of the crowd, you may say something that people will laugh about, but you're creating a bigger impact and a bigger problem to the young person. What will you tell that person tomorrow? That a young child, for example, those who finish class 8 their time and their results are out, what can you tell him? That child is transiting to high school with that kind of mentality.
That chemistry is a hard
Yes, certain topics
I
are
think
hard.
when you were at school, for those of us who you'd be told as early as you're in standard 6 that there's something called moles.
Yes.
When you go to high school, and it will be a problem to you.
So you see,
ukikutana na mtu kwa barabara, hata kama ni mtu wako enda high school, they ask you like, have you read moles?
So there is that notion, and it is a careless talk. The sooner we realize that everything that we speak of, we are impacting people, the sooner we are going to be very careful, and the sooner we are going to shape the direction of our children and the entire society, and in extension, the countrywide. So it has to begin from a small unit called family, and then
It must then move out.
yes.
You've talked about a family library. You've said about the company we keep at home and all that, and the discussions we have. What are some of the discussions we need to start encouraging as a nuclear family? How should a dad wake up and talk to their children? We've talked previously about issues of technology and all that, and you realize that, and even issues about sex and all that, we've had other people talk about them. How do you wake up one day and how do you cultivate that culture of having conversations as a family?
Well, it is very much easier. Back in the days, just to take you back kidogo, I'm not that old, but I listened to my parents and my guardians. We used to have evening sessions where your grandmother tells you the stories, and your grandfather also can take that opportunity also to tell you about the stories, about the ogre, about sungura, sijui hyena. Those interesting stories, the memories we lost, actually. So many children nowadays, they don't know those. It was bringing the families together. But in this generation, are we still need to talk about those stories? No, we may not need to talk about those. What then are we supposed to talk about? As a parent, you can initiate a conversation based on your interest. What is your ambition as a parent? Why don't you share your ambition as a parent, your own personal ambitions with your kids, that in 10 years' time, I want to be here as a person. In 10 years' time, I want to be driving this kind of car. In 10 years' time, I want to have cleared, or in 2 years, I want to clear your school fees. Share your ambitions. Share your goal. You begin by that. By so doing, what are you telling them practically? Practically, you're motivating them. Practically, you're telling them you also need to share your ambitions. And you need also to respect their ambitions. So, when that moment comes, remember when such discussions come, it is coming from a very mutual and neutral point of view, where no one needs to be judged. Regardless, whether you want to be a musician, you want to do certain careers that society perceives as wrong careers, no one is going to judge you on that. We need to support. Then the conversation is the trending. What is trending in the social media? What is trending in the country, for example? Can you find yourself around that topic and ask your children about what is happening? I hear that this is what is happening in politics. What do you think about it? I'm not understood. People are complaining. Kwani bei ya unga ilienda juu? Sijajua sisi tunasiaga mahindi hapa nyumbani. What is happening? Find something. Even in the areas that you're not comfortable in. You know, the beauty of bringing the families together is when you begin having those hard conversations, hard topics to discuss about. So you begin by yourself, and then you encourage. Okay. Then let it be a routine that every evening we need to discuss something. Some people may say how. There are families who have faithfully prayed together. Wanapoenda kulala, they need to pray. That time of prayer, mzee ama mama may share a verse. Why don't you give that particular chance also to one of the kids to share a verse? Or long before you share a verse and pray, why don't you have a conversation, a general conversation? Have an habit of asking your kids, how was your day? What have you learned today? What are some of the news? What can we do in our home to make it better? Yeah? So we generate. The key thing is that parents have been consumed by the responsibilities, and they've been taken away by their work. Kazi zao zimewachukua. They forget the ultimate. And when you ask them, why are we working? We are working because of this. But you don't have time for them. You don't talk to them. Even family day out, do we have those? That is the basis of initiating healthy conversations. That is the basis of building a culture and a routine in a family. And if every family does that, then I don't think we'll have a rotten society. No. We really don't have a rotten society. We have a progressive society. Yes.
Okay. We're actually coming to the tail part of this particular broadcast, and as we come to the end of it all, today we've been talking about investing in your brain. Of course, if you're joining us right now, the link will remain on this particular broadcast. You'll be able to look at it later. And before I go to Bwana Bet for his closing remarks, then I would have maybe you'd also get a chance maybe to say anything that you feel we may not have actually captured, and also go ahead to give us your closing remarks.
Okay, thank you very much. I just want to appreciate that many parents have realized the need to be having mentors. wanasema kwamba kinyozi hajinyoi. Every problem has got the solutions. It has never been too late. If you've strayed as a parent, then we have so many organizations such as Kador who can help you really bring you back to the railroad and be able to manage your children and be able to mentor them. So that is what I will say to everyone. And to the general young people who are watching, whom I believe that your biggest fan base is young people, is that keep on pursuing what is your dreams. Push as much as you can. If you feel that you're giving up, we are always there as mentors to help you. And also go back to your parents, because those are the people who can always listen to you, understand you, even in the weirdest, even in the hardest times. Those are the people who will hold you your hand. It may not be your sisters and your siblings, but your parents will always guide you. If they are unable to guide you, they will always look for the proper person to guide you. And that is the kind of society we want, where everyone is doing very well so that we can elevate ourselves, we can have a prosperous future, and we can take the mantle of leadership with a lot of confidence. And the people, the elder people, will have a lot of trust in us. And the small cases that we've been hearing here and there will be eradicated completely. But that really will take some time, and we need patience.
We need patience.
Yes, yes. That is what I can say.
Okay, thank you so much for making time to be with us on the Morning Glory Show. Thank you also so much for what Kador does in the community today. Make sure that you look for more information about them on the social media. Maybe I give you a chance of if somebody wants to actually reach you, how they reach you.
In the Twitter, you can find me, Bet the Mentor, just one word, Bet the Mentor. Also, you can call me directly. My phone number.
You allow me to pin that one? Okay. So
yes.
07?
0725 89 88 67. So that is my phone number. You can call me anytime. We can talk about any kind of help that you want, especially when it comes to mentorship and other things.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I have the number pinned down there. I'll also make sure that it is pinned. We're actually going live on 2 pages, so I'll make sure that it's pinned on both pages so that anytime you need to reach out to Bwana Bet, you can reach out to them. As we wind up, of course, I would want to thank everyone who's been part of this particular broadcast. Thank you so much for making time to be here with us. Thank you so much for always supporting us. And of course, I believe that you have also benefited from there's so many insights that have been given out about how to actually enrich and make sure that you get yourself the right knowledge. So with that, I would want to thank you for making time to be on the broadcast. And until tomorrow, of course, tomorrow is our last show for the year. We'll take a 1-week break and resume in January. So see you tomorrow as we do what we've always done. Have a beautiful morning.